Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to the channel, where we meticulously unpack the intricate dramas unfolding within the world's most famous royal houses. Today, we are focusing on a development that, while subtle in its delivery, carries the weight of years of strained brotherhood and institutional turmoil. The incredibly rare public mention of Prince Harry by his older brother, Prince William. This wasn't a spontaneous outburst of emotion, nor was it delivered in a highly orchestrated public address. Instead, the future King of England, the Prince of Wales, chose a rather unexpected forum, a travelogue show to utter his estranged sibling's name. This simple act of naming, according to royal insiders, might be the single most significant indication yet that the ice, thick and seemingly impenetrable for half a decade, is beginning just perhaps to thaw. But before we delve into the profound significance of this moment, and what it means for the future of the British monarchy, do remember to ground yourselves in reality by clicking that like button and subscribing to our channel. Your support ensures we can continue to bring you the most detailed and discerning analyses of the royal landscape. The second time in 7 years, a calculated confession. The context of this noteworthy comment is crucial. Prince William was speaking candidly on the Apple TV Plus series, The Reluctant Traveler, hosted by the beloved Canadian actor Eugene Levy. The setting was relaxed, yet William used the platform to discuss his deep-seated vision for the monarchy. A vision focused squarely on modernization and, critically, on protecting the next generation from the stifling constraints he and his brother endured. It was during this reflection on institutional duty and parental responsibility that the name slipped out. William articulated his hopes for the future, declaring, "I hope we don't go back to some of the practices in the past Harry and I had to grow up with. I'll do everything I can to make sure we don't regress in that situation." Now, for those who have followed the saga of the two brothers, this statement is utterly monumental. Sources close to the palace confirm that this marks only the second time in a staggering 7 years that Prince William has publicly acknowledged Prince Harry by name. For 7 long years, a period defined by the dramatic departure, often referred to as Megxit, tell-all interviews, and the publication of a memoir that shook the foundations of the royal family, the Prince of Wales has maintained a disciplined, almost chilling silence regarding his younger sibling. To break that silence, even with a statement that frames Harry not as an adversary but as a shared victim of practices in the past, is a profound gesture. It reframes the narrative, suggesting that their shared upbringing, the very system they were molded by, is the true antagonist, not the individuals themselves. The interpretation: an olive branch hidden in plain sight. The reaction from those watching the dynamics closely was immediate and highly interpretive. Sources speaking to the media outlet RadarOnline.com didn't view this simply as a reflective comment on childhood. They interpreted it as something far more deliberate and meaningful. They characterized the name drop as nothing less than an olive branch, extended across the vast Atlantic divide. Why would William choose this moment? The truth is, the pressure for reconciliation has been mounting, and it hasn't just been external. For more than 5 years, the tension following the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's decision to step back from senior royal duties, a move finalized in 2020, has hung heavy over the House of Windsor. The rift has been a constant source of public embarrassment and private heartache for the family patriarch, King Charles III, and the most consistent voice of mediation, Princess Kate, the Princess of Wales. It is amidst quiet, persistent lobbying from both King Charles and Princess Kate that William is reportedly softening his stance. The monarchy, facing internal strife and external scrutiny, desperately needs stability, and the complete ostracization of the king's younger son creates an unnecessary vulnerability. William, ever the pragmatist and the dedicated future steward of the crown, seems to be warming to the complex, thorny idea of truce talks. This doesn't mean, however, that the barriers have suddenly evaporated. Far from it. The price of trust. Supervised discussions. Only if the mention of Harry's name was the olive branch, then the conditions attached to accepting it are the fine print that makes any potential reconciliation immensely difficult. We must understand that William's initial reaction to the revelations contained within Harry's memoir, Spare, and the public recounting of highly private disagreements, was one of profound betrayal. For William, the core principle of the royal family is discretion, the unwritten rule that private disagreements remain private. Harry's actions were perceived not just as a personal slight, but as an attack on the very mechanism that allows the monarchy to function, its aura of stoic, unified tradition. Consequently, any notion that William would simply pick up the phone, send an impromptu text message, or fire off an Instagram direct message to his brother is firmly dismissed by palace insiders. "There's no way he's willing to pick up the phone and do this casually," one source firmly stated. William remains deeply wary, his caution rooted in the painful memory of how quickly private conversations can become explosive public headlines. The future king is not operating under the assumption of renewed fraternal trust. Any meaningful conversation, the source emphasizes with striking clarity, would need to be a supervised discussion, handled with total discretion. This requirement for a supervised discussion is perhaps the most telling detail about the depth of the rift. It suggests that William requires the presence of trusted aides, perhaps legal or communications advisors, to ensure that the parameters of the conversation are strictly maintained and that there is an agreed-upon witness to the proceedings. It removes the intimacy of brotherhood and replaces it with the formality of a diplomatic negotiation. This is not a casual chat between siblings, it is a high-stakes meeting between the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Sussex, and the future of their relationship, and potentially the crown's image, rests on its success. 5 years of Californian sunshine and ceremonial crossings. Since Harry and Meghan formally stepped back from their roles in 2020, establishing their independent life under the Californian sun, William has maintained a meticulously careful distance. The instances where the brothers have crossed paths have been few, grim, and entirely unavoidable, confined primarily to family funerals and the highly structured environment of major ceremonial occasions where their interactions were managed, down to the precise angle of their gaze. For half a decade, the relationship has been defined by silence, public appearances separated by yards of marble floor, and the weight of mutual disappointment. The sheer logistics of bridging this gap, spanning both an ocean and a chasm of broken trust, are daunting. The insistence on total discretion further highlights the institutional fear that Harry has yet to learn the central lesson of royal survival, that reconciliation, particularly with the hierarchy, comes with the stringent, non-negotiable fine print. The formal encounter, King Charles and the 54-minute meeting. This royal reality check has recently played out in vivid detail, showing that tentative steps toward mending fences are fraught with peril. Take, for instance, the reports surrounding the Duke of Sussex's brief reunion with his father, King Charles III, back in September. This was an eagerly anticipated moment, touted as the first significant attempt by Harry to reconnect after the publication of Spare. The encounter, however, was far from the warm, tearful embrace many might have hoped for. The description of the meeting, which lasted precisely 54 minutes, a detail that speaks volumes about the scheduling and formality involved, was characterized by sources as distinctly formal. This phrasing suggests a meeting dictated by duty rather than affection, conducted perhaps with a clock ticking and specific, pre-approved topics on the agenda. It was a meeting between the sovereign and his son, not simply a father and his boy. The subsequent media coverage of this distinctly formal encounter clearly stung the Sussex camp. In a highly unusual move, Harry's spokesperson broke their customary silence regarding private family matters. They issued a rare and pointed statement, not only defending the nature of the private meeting, but also taking direct aim at the anonymous source's intent on sabotaging any reconciliation between father and son. This public counterattack, however understandable from Harry's perspective, did little to soothe the frayed nerves within the palace walls. If anything, it reinforced the very suspicion that William and the courtiers hold that any attempt at private peace is immediately jeopardized by the ensuing public relations battle. The citadel of distrust. The prevailing atmosphere among the courtiers and long-serving staff remains one of profound skepticism. The institutional memory is long, and the perceived damage inflicted by the Sussexes' public statements is still keenly felt. A lot of courtiers still don't trust him an inch, a source candidly confessed to reporters. This deep-seated distrust is critical because these are the very individuals who advise William, who manage the logistics of his life, and who act as the gatekeepers to the future monarch. Their collective opinion is a powerful force that shapes William's strategic decisions. For these palace insiders, the mandate is clear. Prince William must stand his ground and stay far away from the Sussexes. They view William's distance not as personal coldness, but as a necessary defense of the institution itself. They believe that maintaining a firm boundary is essential to protecting the stability and dignity of the monarchy against what they perceive as unpredictable and potentially destabilizing influences. The argument is simple. William is the immediate heir to the throne. His focus must be entirely on supporting his father, King Charles III, and preparing his own family for their future roles. Any energy diverted into managing the volatile relationship with the Duke of Sussex is seen as a distraction, or worse, an unnecessary risk. The weight of the crown and the path forward. So, where does this leave the two brothers? William's rare mention of Harry by name, linking their shared past to his vision for a modernized, less restrictive monarchy, is undoubtedly a crack in the wall. It is a moment of shared history acknowledged, a brief nod to the bond that once defined them. It suggests that William is, perhaps reluctantly, willing to explore the possibility of a functional, if distant, relationship. This willingness, however, is tethered by strict, non-negotiable conditions: total discretion and supervision. The days of casual phone calls and spontaneous visits are over. If a truce is to be brokered, it will be done in a highly formalized, structured environment, with all parties acutely aware of the sensitivity and the potential for any misstep to cause catastrophic public fallout. The tragedy of the situation is that while King Charles and Princess Kate may be urging peace, the institutional mechanisms designed to protect the crown are simultaneously working to ensure distance. Harry's recent attempt at rapprochement with his father only reinforced the palace's caution, proving that even a 54-minute meeting can quickly descend into a public spat over sabotaging sources. The path to reconciliation is not just about forgiveness, it's about re-establishing trust in an environment where trust has become the most valuable and fragile commodity. For Prince William, the future king, his primary duty is not to his brother, but to the crown. And until the courtiers and, more importantly, William himself are convinced that Harry's actions will no longer undermine that primary duty, the olive branch will remain merely a symbolic gesture, waiting for the strict conditions of acceptance to be met. This drama, playing out in the high-stakes arena of global celebrity and historical monarchy, gives us so much to reflect upon regarding the true cost of duty and the complexity of sibling relationships under immense public pressure. What are your thoughts on William's decision to finally name Harry? Do you believe a supervised discussion is truly possible? Or is the damage caused by spare too profound to repair? Let us know your opinions in the comments section below. We read every single one of your thoughtful contributions. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth royal analysis, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next update on this endlessly compelling story. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.